Hello, guys. On today's podcast of I Need Absolute Silence, here today we have Doug and Smug, and I'm going to ask Smug a question. What were the main causes of World War I?
Well, first, there was militarism, which is aggressive military preparedness. It celebrates war in the armed forces. European powers have been competing for this dominance and invested in their military to prove their strength. This encouraged mobilization of nations.
Then there was alliances, the Central Powers versus the Allies.
Britain and France were allies with Russia. The Triple Entente was the specific alliance of France, Russia, and Great Britain that existed before World War I. All three nations viewed Germany as a rival for different reasons. France was bitter about its defeat in the Franco-Prussian War and lost to Germany in Alsace-Lorraine, a major industrial region with rich deposits of iron ore. Both Britain and France competed with Germany for colonies in Africa. They were known as the Allies, and they were joined by Italy, Japan, China, and the United States and other countries. By the end, there were a total of 27 allies and associated powers.
The Central Powers were the rival alliance and was known as the Triple Alliance, which was made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. When the war began, Italy remained neutral until 1915, when they switched their allegiance and joined the Allies. At the outbreak of the war, the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria joined the former Triple Alliance called the Central Powers.
The alliance system developed because Western European countries became bitter rivals for global domination. One of the most important ways these nations asserted their power and generated wealth through owning overseas colonies through imperialism.
Nationalism comes from the feeling of pride in one's national identity. Multinational empires like the Ottoman Empire and Austro-Hungarian Empire had to contend with many nationalist movements among their subjects.
Okay, so was there an immediate cause of the war?
I'd say the immediate cause of the war had its roots in yet another cause of conflict, which is the rise of nationalism. Austria-Hungary's control over the territory of Bosnia-Herzegovina, Gavrilo Princip, a member of the Black Hand, assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife. The Black Hand was a national organization devoted to ending Austro-Hungarian presence in the Balkans. In the Austro-Hungary perspective, it was a terrorist group. Then, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. They declared war on Serbia immediately after the assassination, and when Serbia rejected an ultimatum from Austria-Hungary demanding it to end all anti-Austrian agitation in Serbia.
World War I was unlike anything the world had ever seen. New technology, machine guns, poison gas, long-range artillery, tanks, and airplanes made the war incredibly deadly. Trench warfare on the Western Front created brutal stalemate. It was truly a global conflict involving alliances, imperial powers, and millions of colonized soldiers drafted from across the world. It wasn't just war, it was total war.
No, please, I have a family. No, let's get nuts.
No!
That's right.
No, wake up!
Can you believe we're on the Lusitania, one of the largest passenger liners?
Really? Wow, I didn't realize.
Do you know when we're supposed to arrive?
No, do you?
I heard it was around like mid-7. What is that? No, come on, what's happening? No!
Mexico. Do you want to have a military alliance in exchange for money and more land that you lost already?
Yes.
Yes? Let's shake on it!
Check on it!
Have you ever had Germany send so many bombs your way that it frightened you to stay? War! War! That is war!
Oh, say, can you see? We declare war! We are speeding down the trenches! We are going as fast as possible! We declare it war!
Silence, absolute need I. So to recap, why did Americans choose to become involved in World War One?
Here you go, Doug.
Thank you. So the U.S. actually stayed neutral at first, but that didn't last. German U-boats targeted passenger and merchant ships, like the Lusitania, killing Americans and raising tensions. Then came the Zimmermann telegram, where Germany tried to get Mexico to attack us. And on top of that, U.S. banks and businesses were heavily tied to the Allies. By 1917, staying out was almost impossible. What was the experience of Americans serving in the war?
When Americans arrived in Europe as part of the American Expeditionary Force, they faced exhaustion, mud, rats, poison gas, and relentless shelling. But despite the harsh conditions, their arrival gave the Allies a much-needed boost. By the late 1918, U.S. troops played a major role in pushing Germany back. Would you like to ask another question?
Yeah, I would actually. So, how did World War One impact Americans' lives here in America? Here. So the war didn't only happen overseas. It changed life in the United States as well. So women stepped into new jobs because the men were out fighting, and they took on leadership roles and proved they were essential to the workforce. African Americans moved north in huge numbers during the Great Migration, seeking factory jobs and better opportunities. Everyone was encouraged to buy war bonds, conserve food, and support the war effort. It was a time of sacrifice, change, and national mobilization. How did the government and business cooperate during the war?
To fight such a massive war, the government and business had to work together. Agencies like the War Industries Board helped factories switch from making household goods to producing weapons, uniforms, and military supplies. Propaganda posters and campaigns urged Americans to conserve food, save energy, and stay loyal. The entire country's economy basically shifted to support the war.
What were the outcomes of the war?
The war left Europe devastated. About 10 million soldiers died, cities were destroyed, the countries were drowning in debt. 4 major empires collapsed: the German, Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. And when the Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany for the war and forced huge reparations, it created anger and desperation that later helped cause World War II.
In what ways did American involvement in World War I represent a departure from American tradition up until World War I, and how does it compare to America's role in the world today?
So, before World War I, the United States avoided getting deeply involved in European conflicts. But entering World War I marked a major change. We stepped into the world as a real global power. And today, America plays an even bigger international role, with alliances, military bases around the world, and major influence in global politics.
What were the lasting impacts in America of American involvement in World War I?
Back at home, the war changed American society. The government gained more control over the economy and public life. Women moved into new jobs and pushed for voting rights. Leading to the 19th Amendment, African Americans migrated north for wartime jobs in the Great Migration. But after the war, many Americans grew distrustful of foreign entanglements, returning to isolationism during the 1920s.
What were the lasting impacts of World War I?
Worldwide, World War I redrew borders, created new nations, and sparked conflicts that still exist today. The Middle East especially changed dramatically after the Ottoman Empire fell. The war also led to new political movements, from democracy pushes to revolutions. And while the League of Nations failed, it set the foundation for the United Nations.
What do you hope the world learns from this?
That if nations don't work together, we'll end up right back where we were. I just hope that this war ends, but it doesn't feel like it.